I would like to thank one of my viewers for raising this question. Do atoms exist? So in this video, I will try to use language and logic. I won't present to you any flashy, colorful diagrams and things like that, but we're just going to stay by something very, very basic. But before I do that, I want you to see that it is time for truth. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go to the Greek word, and it's right in front of you, the Greek word. Okay, you're looking at the Greek language. The origin of this word and its meaning at the time would have been supposedly around 400 BC. Now, it's hard to trust all the dating and all the characters in history, but we have to start somewhere. So we're going to start with the Greek language. Now, the word atom is in front, atomos is in front of you. So this would be like an A, this would be like a T, that's like an O, and that's like an M, an O, and an S. Atomos. Now, the A or the alpha is separated from the root word tomos. Now, tomos is derived from cutting or splitting. So if you put A in front of it, it negates what comes after it. So for example, the word atheist. A theist is someone who believes in God. An atheist is someone who does not believe in God. The letter A or the alpha negates it. So this means cutting or split. A cutting or something split. So something that cannot be cut or split. That which cannot be cut or split. Atom. Now, that's the origin of the English word. So, just on the basis of the origin of the word, I'm going to say to you that atoms exist in theory, but atoms do not exist in reality. Now, once again, it goes back to one of the concepts that I had in my name of different channels that I chose, and one of the channels that I designated as real or real, R-E-A-L or R-E-E-L. Is it real as in reality, or is it something that's only presented to you in terms of film, fantasy? Real, R-E-E-L. Now, atoms are, in a sense, fantasy. And it comes back to the meaning that was originally established in that A, tomos, atom, that which cannot. This is cut, cutting, split, that which has been cut or split, and this is negates it, that which cannot be cut or split. Cannot. So if I put an apple in front of you right now, and I had a knife, and I started to cut it in half, and then cut the halves in halves, quarter it, and then cut the quarters in half, all right? Could I continue to cut every single shred of the apple? Well, in a practical sense, my knife would not be small enough to divide the piece of apple. But even if I could acquire an instrument that would divide the apple at its tiniest level, there would still be a particle in existence. Now, the Greeks theorized that you will reach a point at which it cannot be divided. And that is what they call an atom. Okay? Now, do they actually exist? No, they can't exist, because in reality, real, R-E-A-L, you can always split something. The problem is not that you cannot split it. The problem is you don't have an instrument small enough to split it. Now, what they're saying is, in hoax history, that according to science, which is pseudoscience, the atom was split. Now that's nonsense, and here's why it's nonsense: because it's double talk. And double talk is presented to you as being brilliant. If the definition is that which cannot be split, how can it be split? Now, there will be people listening to me right now that will want to bail out, and that's okay with me. Bail out if you want. But here's the truth of the matter. You've been hoaxed. There's no such thing as an atomic bomb. Because what they teach in their pseudoscience is that somehow in the depths of these particles in the atom, there's an incredible amount of energy. And when you bust the atom, it releases energy. Now think about it. You can't even see the darn thing. And then out of this thing called an atom comes this explosion that's going to take out an entire city. It's nonsense. But the nonsense is packaged as being brilliant. And we got our stupid formula E equals mc squared, which I have done a video on that, and that is just downright witchcraft. So back to the original question, do atoms exist? They exist in theory, postulations. There is no proof anywhere about an atom existing. You have stories of magical things happening, like the Manhattan Project, whereby the atom was split, and then Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where the world was shown the power of the atom. No, the world was shown the power of witchcraft. So, do atoms exist? Well, the ancient Greeks around 400 BC, you see the name before you here, Democritus, postulated, theorized that there would be something in this physical existence that could never be split by a knife or by anything. And if that is the definition, how in the world could you split it? And so basically what they're saying is, the language that you learned doesn't apply anymore. And that's basically what a lot of hoaxing is about. Taking language and assigning it a new meaning. In one of the words, I'm not going to say the word, but it begins with the letter V, and in its Latin origin was singular, no plural existed, and it had a very simple basic meaning: secretion of poison, either from obviously a plant, or B, an animal. And the most obvious animal is the serpent. So now that word, coming out of Latin, goes into English with an entirely new definition. So I'm borrowing a slide here from somewhere, I don't know. But notice, whoever's used this slide in their teaching got the definition there: indivisible. No experiments to support this idea. So you can make up anything you want about atoms. And you can come up with all kinds of charts. You can come up with all kinds of faces to tell you about the power of an atom. But what I'm telling you about is the power of witchcraft. To take a word and then allow it to have its meaning changed, redefined, and assigned a bunch of BS called science. Beware of so-called science. Folks, there were no nuclear bombs dropped because they didn't exist. What was dropped was a bomb on your head. A bomb to your mind, making you believe that somehow something you can't even see with your eye, when you open it up, it releases this enormous power and causes enormous destruction. Do you know who is called the destroyer in the Bible? Apollyon, the devil. So, the destruction that's done by the atomic nonsense is a destruction of language and logic. Well, back to my listener, back to my viewer. I do want to thank you for raising the question, and I'm sure that some will watch this will want to say, this is not good science. Yeah, you're right, it's not. Because mostly science is a hoax. And you've been hoaxed, and you've been duped, and you've had a nuclear bomb dropped on your head. Atoms, do they exist? Not really. They're just a postulation and a theory. And if there is a theory, what they're saying is it's the end of the line. Nobody splits them. Your head's been split by Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Well, I hope this was some truth for you. I don't know if you were helped or hurt. Or you want to scream at me. That's not scientific. It's not scientific. But I believe I've just given you truth. Thank you for watching.
So, yeah, Happy New Year, 1-1, Worldwide here, questioning Mr. Skeptic, 101. So, yeah, just been looking into this atom thing. Recently did an expose on the nuclear weapons hoax. A lot of talk been going on about these nuclear weapons not being real and just being a bunch of fear-mongering, control, psychological operation type thing. And I'm looking at these atoms now. I want to see what these atoms look like. I mean, we know they've talked about atoms since the ancient Greek days. You know, you can go to Democritus and a lot of those writers, and they talk about these atoms. And they even had societies built around atoms. All this talk about atoms, and they claim like these things are invisible. You know, once again, physics, quantum physics, talking about black holes, they're invisible, yet on the other side of the cheek they say there's observable evidence. Okay, well, show me the evidence. I'm looking at these pictures. I type in on Google real picture of atom, and what do we get? More fucking cartoons. Let's see what we got here. Some Jews in the mix. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Hero scientist of the atom. I mean, what is this shit, man? It's another belief system. This is another religion. I went to a physics website, physics forums, and someone way back in the day here, 2006, asked pretty good questions that I'm asking here, like, where are these atoms? Let me see a real picture. You know what I mean? Because my question's always been, if you can't see it, how can you work with it? You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. It's like if I can't see a black hole, how can I measure it 300 trillion miles or whatever, light years? You know what I'm saying? It's the same concept here with these microscopic things that are so small. We need particle accelerators to be able to zoom in and work with them, and all I'm seeing is cartoons out here. I mean, and then people who don't know what they're talking about. I mean, look, let's read some of the stuff here on this physics forum. Picture of a real atom. And I'll leave the links in the description. I think I heard from a Nobel laureate in physics that from the electron microscope we were able to see the picture of a real atom for the first time in the 1970s. But my chemistry textbook written in 2000 said that no one has actually seen an atom. What is going on? Yeah, what is going on? That's a great fucking question. What is going on? So let's see what some responses are. I guess it depends on what it means to see. Okay. Continue. Because that sounds a little crazy. That depends on what you mean by see. No one has ever, he spelled it wrong. No one has ever seen a single atom with an optical microscope. But there are pictures using atomic force microscopes, AFM, that clearly show topological pits where atoms lay. Topological pits. I believe scanning tunneling microscopes, STMs, are strong enough to depict single atoms, but I'm not 100% sure. You're not 100% sure. Well, you better be 100% sure if you want to deal with evidence here. So let's go to this link that he's talking about and see what he's talking about. What is this here? Okay. physics website. This looks official. Okay, AFM image. Let's take a peek at that. I mean, that looks really major. Wow. They actually, I mean, that looks like some Hubble telescope shit. Fucking computer generated image. Like, what am I looking at? What is this shit, man? I mean, am I going crazy here, or am I just not getting it? Maybe I'm the retard here. I mean, maybe I just don't know. I need to go to school for this stuff. You know, I mean, look at I mean, this looks like Photoshop, baby, all day. I mean, what is this? People really think this is real. I mean, it really boggles the mind. I guess this is what they need particle accelerators for. Pictures of atoms. Yeah, I bet. At the link you provide, 10 images down from the top, is a blue image with the title Internal Atomic Structures. I have a question for anyone exactly. What internal structures are shown here? Quarks, electrons, protons, neutrons, mesons, etc.? Well, I don't know. I don't know what picture that is because I didn't go all the way. Let's see. I guess he's referring to this one. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Looks like the face on Mars. I mean, what is this shit, bro? What is this? What are we looking at? This looks like Legos. I'm serious. I mean, alright. Let's go back to the physics forum. There's a picture of a barium ion here. We're going to go to that. What's this barium ion? Let's see. Planet Earth is viewed from the Voyager spacecraft outside of our solar system. Look at that dot. That's Earth. Oh, and they put it right beside this barium ion. A single trapped barium ion held fixed in space in an RF Paul trap located in Seattle. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, let's zoom in on that. Let's get a closer look. Wow, that's amazing. Look at that. Look at that dot. And people believe in this shit. They worship this shit. Don't get it twisted. If you try to tell these quantum physicists that they're wrong, that everything that they're talking about is fucking kooky Star Trek shit, they will hunt you down. I mean, they have no problem shitting on religion and the Bible, the Quran. Try to shit on their physics books. See what happens. What you have to remember, though, is that the atom is emitting photons, meaning that it appears bigger than it actually is. And the real atom would not be blue colored. It's still an interesting picture, though. So he don't know what he's talking about either. Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, I guess, right? So is a 7-year-old's. The picture should be labeled better. I'm guessing that each sphere is an atom and that we are looking at some kind of crystalline structure, perhaps a metal or a quartz or something, with a well-ordered atomic structure. I can say for sure that we are not looking at quarks or electrons, because they have never been observed as having a real geometric structure. I'm not so sure about protons or neutrons. Hey, you're not so sure. I bet. Never been observed. Like, look at these words here, these key words. They don't know what they're talking about. If you're really interested, email the website master, and I'm sure they'd help you out, since it's an academic institute. Yeah, real academic. Because they're not teaching you guys much if you don't even know what the hell you're looking at. Let's see what this guy says, Marlon. The experimental techniques you are referring to show the interactions of the apparatus with the spectrum that you study. So the plots show how this interaction varies as you probe scan the specimen. For example, changes in color or intensity indicate a region where there are certain atoms. The theory behind the interaction will completely tell you which regions correspond to what kind of atoms. But you do not observe individual atoms at their so-called exact location on the specimen. This would directly violate the uncertainty principle. Concerning the quarks that are mentioned in the following post here, no, you cannot observe the internal structure of quarks, or quarks themselves, okay, as so-called point particles or whatever. because they are elementary particles that, like all phenomena in the quantum world, respect the hup. Yes, you better respect the hup. Elementary particles are the most fundamental building blocks of the theoretical models that describe interactions between all kinds of atoms. I remember reading about techniques that claim to see the shapes of electron orbitals, which is most likely being referred to here, i.e. the structure of an atom rather than the structure of the nucleus, protons and neutrons, nor the structure of the nucleus, quarks. I won't do the calculation right now, but surely, evidently, you can measure an atom's location, i.e. within an angstrom, without violating the uncertainty principle, presuming it's not an absolute zero temperature? Is that a question? Okay. Sounds like more circular reasoning. Basically this is what, when you don't know what you're talking about, when you lie, you have to create more lies and get more confused to make it sound like, you're actually on some real deep stuff. But really, this is just a bunch of fucking magic with words, terms, that type of thing. It's a belief system. You know what I mean? This is based on concepts of the mind, not reality as is right here, right now in front of you. So this is a response to this other comment. But you do not observe individual atoms at their so-called exact location on the specimen. This would directly violate the uncertainty principle. Philosophy. Sound like a type of philosophy. This would mean that there is a bit of uncertainty in everything we measure, even if there is no experimental error, which sounds very plausible. I always believed in the idea that everything we do is varying degrees of approximations to something. Although I do not know what that something is, because even these sentences is an approximation to something. Oh boy. It's like words are just signposts to a state of being, but it's not actually something tangible that you can put in something. You know what I mean? And I'm crazy here, and I'm crazy, right, for saying as a creator that you can clearly see created everything, but this is some fucking spooky, kooky, loopy stuff. You know what I mean? And they believe in it. I mean, we can go on here, but let's see what some of these other links were. I mean, this was stuff that they were linking here. I mean, STM, scanning tunnel microscopy. And the thing is, like, this is Photoshop. This isn't from a microscope. This is Photoshop. I seen this years ago, with effects in Photoshop where you could do it. I mean, this isn't no, like, groundbreaking stuff. Atomic force microscopy. Kind of gets into the technicals here. I mean, you don't have to be Einstein to see. It's just illustrations, folks. Another belief system. No matter what they tell you, you have to subscribe to the white coat priest. You know what I mean? You have to subscribe to the textbook, the indoctrination manuals they give you in your classroom, where you're like a school of fish, where you go inside and they anoint you and tell you what it is to be a square and to get that degree. Get the Worldwise 1-1. Happy New Year. I'm out.
I can give you the basics of the atom in 2 minutes. You'll understand it perfectly and remember it for months.
2 minutes? You crazy, you know that?
There are 3 gangs on the street, right?
Yeah, 3 gangs.
And this right here is the territory. Now, here is the neighborhood. Got that?
Yeah.
And right in the middle of this neighborhood is a gang called the New Boys.
Yeah, the New Boys. Good name.
Okay. Out here on the outside of the neighborhood, on the edge of the neighborhood, is another gang. These are real negative dudes, really negative, right?
Right.
Now, they call themselves the elected ones.
All right, the elected.
You got that? Really negative. They don't like nothing, see?
Right.
Now, they all the time out here circling around the neighborhood, just circling, checking out the New Boys. Now, the New Boys see this, and they get, they figure there's something wrong here, so they make a deal with another gang, a gang of very happy-go-lucky guys. They call themselves the Pros. The pros. Now, the pros are very positive cats. You see, they got all the good-looking women, right?
Yeah.
Right. See, now the pros and the elected ones, the interesting thing, they hate each other. So much so that they keep the same number of members in the gang, just in case you dig.
Right.